Hello there, Reject Nation. I'm Greg Alba.
I'm John Humphrey.
We're going to watch from new Rockstars Joker, ending explained, hidden evidence of final twist revealed. New Rockstars being one of my favorite YouTube channels, Joker being one of my favorite movies of the year. Check out our non-spoiler and spoiler talk, where we of course talk about the ending as well. But, you know, they always have these like theories that I've never really considered or pondered, so it'll be interesting to react to and then talk a little bit about what they're diving into. Let's find out, shall we? Also, I was on Movie Fights recently where I pitched my idea for a Joker 2. You should go check it out. It's a good one.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix origin story of the clown prince of crime, ended in a way that will almost certainly have the film buff on your trivia team talking for years to come. I'm going to talk about everything in this movie's ending, so spoiler warning if you have not seen Joker yet, though not saying the movie hasn't stopped most people from pre-forming an opinion about it. Okay, Joker ended with its violent anti-hero lead, Arthur Fleck, with a kind of mixed victory after a lifetime of abuse and mental illness, finally gets a shot at his favorite late-night show, where, on live TV, he confesses to murdering 3 Wall Street bros, he chastises Gotham society, and he shoots, not himself, as various moments throughout the movie foreshadowed that he would, but, twist, he shoots Robert De Niro's Murray Franklin in the head, spraying this live TV
Face.
Yeah! Yeah, I love it.
His murders inspired, free him from police.
I want to be just like him.
You go, Arthur. Inspiring us all.
Recreating the classic Bruce Wayne Batman origin down to the snap string of pearls, Arthur dances in victory and uses the hood from his mouth to make his clown makeup smile even wider. But here's where things get weird.
That's what he did.
They got weird from the opening scene. But we cut from Arthur's victory dance to Arthur trapped in a mental institution. The psychologist asks him what's so funny, and he just smiles and says, "You wouldn't get it." Then, cut to Arthur stepping down the facility hallway, leaving bloody footprints behind, implying he murdered that psychologist. And then the orderlies chase him around like
I don't see it.
But how does this ending reframe the entire Joker film as we know it? I'm going to break down the deeper meaning of this final scene. Here we go. Joker's ending explained. So there are at least 2 ways that you can interpret the final act of Joker. One is a literal interpretation of events. Arthur Fleck, a clown suffering from the mental illness of pathological laughter, he commits murder. He at one point believes his father is Thomas Wayne, but then he learns his mother lied about that and actually adopted him, allowed him to be abused. And once he learns
Suffers
about this,
from the mental illness of pathological.
Late night show, and he gets invited on that show where he
Wrote the
murders the host,
script.
incites a riot that kills the Waynes, and ends up incarcerated. You can see that as your Joker origin story. But there's also enough evidence throughout this film telling us that we should not necessarily interpret these events literally, because Arthur Fleck is an unreliable narrator. Well, he doesn't exactly narrate to us, but all the movie's events are seen through his eyes. And in some key moments, those depictions are revealed to be Fight Club-style subjective fantasies. The first example happens very early in the movie. Arthur watches Murray Franklin's show, then the camera slyly cuts to the inside of that studio with Arthur in the studio audience. No flourishy transition, no push in on Arthur's eyes, no echoey sound effect signaling a memory. It's just blink and we're there, as if we're cutting from scene to scene. Murray notices Arthur's shrill laugh and he singles him out. He compliments him. Arthur stands in the crowd and talks about his life. The crowd affectionately approves of him. Murray even invites him down to the stage. He hugs him. He says that he wishes he had a son like him. And of course, this is a fantasy. We go back to Arthur watching Murray on TV.
God, that moment.
Arthur's mind and what he wants. But I would argue that the version of events with Murray that the movie proposes as reality doesn't seem that plausible either. Murray, by the end of the film, comes off as the exact opposite of this fantasy. He's a cruel bully who plays a video of a clearly ill, struggling comic to mock him on national television. Think about it. No affable late-night host in real life would pull that kind of dick move. Like Jay Leno was kind of a dick behind the scenes. Letterman had some awkward moments, I guess. And Johnny Carson probably had some low blows at roasts. But on their own shows where they're trying to come off as likable and mainstream, none of them would do something like that. It would be career suicide.
Never seen that.
So I would argue that the asshole that Murray ends up being isn't any more realistic than the version in Arthur's dream scenario. Now, the other evidence of Arthur's unreliability pertains to the character of Sophie, played by Zazie Beetz. Arthur and Sophie meet briefly in the elevator of their building. Shortly after, he follows her to work.
No one knows how to pronounce her name.
Zazie?
Zazie Bates, apparently.
And from then on, the 2 form a relationship that makes 0 sense. After killing the bros, he knocks on her door, still in clown makeup and plants.
And she's Catwoman.
She's like, yeah, the creepy clown in my building.
No,
Let's
that's
do this. They go in the room. They go on dates.
Just joking.
She watches
Was
his
it like working on The
fashion
Matrix,
and
Mr.
enjoys
Jackson?
it. Every comic knows this. You never invite a girl on a date to watch you do stand-up. No woman in her right mind would do that.
I was
And
thinking that
she
too
did
when I was watching the movie. Like, yeah.
Because reality kicks in. Arthur enters her apartment later in the movie. He sits on her couch. She walks in the room and she screams. She says to him, "Your name's Arthur, right? You live in this building?" Clearly, they actually have no relationship. And the Fight Club style callback montage returns to their past moments together to reveal that Arthur was alone for all of those moments. So, along with these obvious inconsistencies, lots of other elements in the story just don't add up. Like, how is Arthur able to get so close to the Wayne family estate, put his fingers in Bruce Wayne's mouth? How is this string being able to overpower through a gate Alfred Pennyworth, a former British military officer, a trained bodyguard badass? How is Arthur able to casually sneak through a heavily policed protest to a secure VIP benefit without anyone calling him out?
Because of blood.
And the theme of invisibility.
Such short notice. Now, I guess you could chalk all this up to, well, because the movie, things need to happen, stop questioning. But with clear evidence of foul play and the logic of this movie, it is fair to question everything. Now, it's also worth noting that in his early session with his psychologist,
Heard this
Deborah
theory
King,
before.
there's a quick flashback to Arthur's pastime in a facility. You quickly see him pounding his head against a wall. In that flashback, he wears white, and there's all white walls. It's actually pretty similar to the facility he's in at the end of the film. Maybe that's
Similar
the room
to a
that he's
lot of
in
facilities
the movie.
across
And
the
you can
world.
also tell the psychologist, the one that kills, might have inspired Deborah Kane in his fantasy. Deborah Kane has to stop treating him because the state cut her program, but in reality, that later psychologist couldn't help him because Arthur literally cut her. If this second interpretation is true, it would be more in line with the classic understanding of the Joker character. The Joker's origin is always meant to be left a mystery. He's a force of anarchy without any defined sympathetic backstory to make us feel for him. Like, even in the story most considered closest to a Joker origin, Alan Moore's The Killing Joke, Joker is, like Fleck, a struggling comic, but it famously ends with the Joker implying that his past is actually multiple choice. That was the interpretation Heath Ledger's Joker used in The Dark Knight, with his shifting narratives of his
I love
so
the
by
Heath
ending
Ledger's
with
Joker.
Arthur chuckling to himself and
Just
telling
always
us he wouldn't get the joke in his head, this places this Joker in that same cryptic boat. This sympathetic narrative we've seen is really just one of many options in this multiple choice question of his life, and it's the option that amuses him in this moment, the one that he doesn't expect people to get. And maybe the part of this story that tickles him the most is, in this fantasy, he gets to create the Batman, rather than the Batman creating the conditions for Joker's existence. Joker gets to destroy Bruce Wayne's life and be the spark that ignites Gotham. That's his ultimate fantasy. So the choice is left to you, the viewer. You can read Joker as a nihilistic revenge tale, or if that feels off to you, it's also okay to just read the movie as a fleeting fantasy that cracks a smile from a broken man. But hey, that's just my explanation. Do you think Arthur's life story was real or all in his imagination? Comment down below with your
Maybe a
thoughts.
mix.
Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @ABoss, and
I would go with
to help
mix.
us finish
I would
building
go
our
with
new
mix.
home, please consider becoming a patron of New Rockstars Digital Studios. Patrons will get access to exclusive premium breakdowns and a bunch of other cool rewards. You can also get on the list of
Do they only have
shout-outs
408
like
patrons?
these. I love all these guys.
409 now.
Is that what it said?
Did
Did I misread
Did
it?
we should go back.
Rewind
Rewind the reaction.
They should have way more.
I know.
Like the best.
So
Nah, they're like the best channel in the world.
When are they going on tour is what I want to know.
No. Do I need to pledge New Rockstars?
You do. Get that 409.
$4.97. Not. What did I say?
407. So you were off by 90.
My bad. I
right.
was still close.
Actually, we're both wrong. In the video, it says 408, and as of now, they're at 498. So, go New Rockstars, man.
Well, this was cool. I've heard shades of these theories before, usually from just like a headline or a question, but I haven't really heard any of the deep dives into it.
I've just heard people talking in public, and
Oh,
I've
really?
heard, just like so many interpretations that all amount to this scene, it's a fantasy because this,
Yes.
and it's really this. Most recent one I heard is that every scene with his mom, she's actually yelling and berating him, but he's just imagining that she's very sweet.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, sure.
That's really cool.
I like it thematically. I don't know how it works logistically.
To me, I when I said mixes, I'm like, maybe this is just the way Arthur remembers it going down, or like his perspective on it.
Yeah.
As opposed to how it all really went down.
I think that ending is the spinning top from Inception. We're supposed to assume that most of these things in some way happened. The problem for me with the whole fantasy aspect of this is that once I start entertaining it beyond the things the movie makes very clear are fantasies, like his moment with Murray and his relationship with the woman down the hall, those are very clearly fantasies, and if we just start taking the rest of it as a complete hallucination or
it undercuts the fantasy elements of the movie.
And then it just makes the whole movie weightless almost. Yeah.
See, I actually don't believe any of this is fantasy. Even that whole thing about what I was saying with his perspective, that was me saying the most I could believe it at would be that.
Like a unreliable narrator who misinterprets context, but not
and
necessarily
dynamics. Yeah.
But not the events themselves.
But those things still happened.
Yeah.
I am the viewer of the former that he started this video off with, of someone who just bought it as this is the linear fashion of how all of this went down, and that this is not something completely made up.
I feel like the point is that the magic is supposed to be around the edges. We all know that the Joker's background is multiple choice, and so you're supposed to wonder. And for me, I feel like it's almost kind of a mistake to put that in the foreground.
Well, Todd Phillips himself has said that he's shown this movie to several people, like before it was ever released, and everyone has their own take on what the ending means. He's said that he wants to like wait a while before he says his perspective.
Before he gets fed up and tweets it.
Yeah, and he wanted to give it some time, do that kind of traditional director thing where people have their own interpretation of the ending, but then down the road they reveal, he's not a replicant.
Yeah,
exactly. Something like that. To me, some of these things I think are just chalked up to getting the plot going. Because the fantasy element with the Murray thing, the whole point with like what you were talking about with the fantasies was to differentiate between reality and fantasy. The whole thing with Bruce Wayne, people talk about how cool the switcheroo is. The fact that it's Joker who was responsible for creating Batman, and everyone always puts it in that context. But in the movie's context, let's say that is what Arthur Fleck is laughing about. Is Arthur Fleck laughing about how he created Batman, or how he essentially really screwed over his younger half-brother? You know? Because I thought this whole thing was, there's no Batman, does that mean Joker knows who Batman? Like, no one's even raising that question, because everyone puts it in, Joker created Batman, that's why he's laughing. I'm like, well, actually, if there's no Batman, he's laughing because he was able to rob his younger half-brother. They're not looking at it in the movie's context at that point.
Yeah, he was basically able to give him a similar experience. Plays in where he won't entirely know the truth, and he's now orphaned and subject to whatever the system has for him. And his wealth.
I think the audience perspective of us knowing he created Batman is cool. But what's Arthur Fleck's perspective in that moment? That's what I'm more amused by at the moment.
In the moment, I took that almost as like a fourth wall break, because that whole ending coda is very fantastical as compared to the rest of the movie. It's very ethereal. Everything's white. It ends, and they've even pulled Scooby-Doo totally cartoonishly. And so, that seems like it exists on a different plane for me than the rest of the movie. I don't know, maybe it's many years later and Batman exists now, and he's like, aha, that's my thing.
So he knows his Batman?
I don't know, maybe. Like, he didn't look that much older, but it's one of those things where I'm basically leaving you alone, an orphan, just like I was, you know.
Yeah.
And that even though I didn't do it, my movement, this thing that your father has been trying to squash out, led to you having the same fate as me.
Right.
And I think it is meta in the sense that I'm sure it's acknowledging the whole Batman created the Joker, so the Joker gets to create Batman.
As much as I love Eric Voss, I can't give him the whole thing on Alfred with the military background. Because that's in the comics lore, but this movie clearly takes creative liberties, and there's never a portion in the film that goes out of its way to specify that this Alfred has a military background.
And Todd Phillips has said we're not drawing from any specific comics with this, and so if ever there was an Alfred I shouldn't assume is just a badass, it's probably this one.
Yeah, that's why I haven't watched any Easter egg videos on this that are gonna make all these comics reference tie-ins, like the hidden Easter eggs, unless he's pulling the ultimate trick. Todd Phillips has really gone on record.
Todd Phillips is the Joker.
Yeah, he's really gone on record saying he finds that like ridiculous. I forgot what he said, but he was debunking the whole idea. He hates the concept of putting these comic Easter eggs in movies. He didn't do any of that, so that's why I don't watch any of those videos. But the ending is something where clearly there's a specific meaning he has to it. So that's why I find the theories on this very fascinating.
I saw a tweet the other day that said, I forget which movie it was referencing, but it said something ending explained, and then the following line just said, all those people worked on the movie. And that's all I think of now, because this title, like ending explained, is like the most popular title now on YouTube for anything. So that's what I think of now.
Have you seen those memes going around?
Oh God,
those fake Joker references.
No.
You haven't seen them?
No.
Oh, they're so funny. In Joker 2019, we see Arthur Fleck kill people. This is a subtle reference to the Dark Knight where the Joker kills people.
They're connected, definitely. They're definitely related.
For those who didn't catch the reference.
Is that what that's?
For those who didn't catch
seen
the
that
reference.
I've seen the McLovin one.
They're basically all these people who are making these hilarious reference memes. There's so much of these Easter eggs and references are such BS.
You know, I made a meme based on the Joker, but sort of only a little bit. Because now King of Comedy is back. People know what that movie is now. And so I made a combination of Tom Hanks' David S. Pumpkins from SNL, but with Rupert Pupkin's head. And that's my contribution to the world of comedy.
That's it, people. Comedy's over with. Subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click that notification bell, and we'll see you at the Improv Hollywood.
Explaining it is not as good as just having pulled it up on this massive computer.
It's too much of a hassle to Google it.
You know, John gets self-conscious when the chair wiggles.
Or I'm just lost in the moment.
Oh, look how quick he was to defend himself. Pick on his insecurities.
Yeah, I might be doing that. It's possible, yeah.
I'm gonna pull out his
like an
insecurities.
alien. Reminded me of like a face hugger.
Yeah.
All you need is a tail.
I don't know what we're doing. Guys, this really happened. Stop theorizing.
None of it's real. The movie means nothing. It means everything. All of you are correct.
Well, cool. That was fun. That was fun still. New Rockstars. Got a pledge to these guys. You guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. You can subscribe to our channel. Click that notification bell. You can check us out on the world of things that happen to God. The world according to Brian.
Bible.
Before we end this video, I'd like to give a patron of the day shout out to a man named Scuba Steve. Scuba!
Scoobs.
Last month we missed your shout out, and then you stayed pledged. That's a sign of loyalty. That's also a sign that you understand that we are not perfect and occasionally we make mistakes. We started off this month with giving you a shout out, the 1st of October. And now here's your second shout out. 2 shout outs in 1 month to make up for last month. I hope you appreciate this, Scuba. You mean a lot to me. You have done this country a great service. And I appreciate how you've decided to triple your pledge. Going on record, I'm posting the receipt online. Thank you for agreeing to do so. Hopefully, you don't feel manipulated by this shout out or pressure to actually do that.
Because actually, this shout out is a twist ending, and actually none of this video even happened.
Didn't
This is
even
all just
react.
happening in your mind. The
Yeah.
whole video has been your shout out. That reaction, you know, is just part of it.
You wouldn't get it.
You wouldn't get it.